Lesson 20, Exponents, Rectangular Area, Part 1, and Square Root. So when we have repeated multiplication, we use an exponent. So for example, if I had 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, we can write that using an exponent, 2 to the 5th. The exponent just means you multiply the number 2 5 times. So this is called the exponent, and this number 2 is called the base. A square root has a radical symbol, and it looks like this. That symbol is called the radical symbol. So when we have what's called the square root of 25, that's an example. 25 is the same thing as 5 times 5. Now this is a pair of 5s, and we're doing square root, so one of them gets to come out. So the square root of 25 is equal to 5. So it's the backwards of squaring 5. 5 squared is 25. Square root then is the inverse of squaring. So we calculate exponents by writing their products. So if we wanted to take the sum of 5 squared plus 3 squared, we would write 5 times 5 plus 3 times 3. And order of operations, we multiply before we add. So we would have 25 plus 9 equals 34. So 5 squared plus 3 squared is 34. If we are multiplying, say, 2 to the 3rd times 2 squared, we could write it out. 2 to the 3rd is 2 times 2 times 2. And then we're multiplying by 2 squared, which is 2 times 2. And now there's 5 2's multiplied. We could also write that as 2 to the 5th. But we can do 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16, times 2 one more time is 32. So 2 to the 5th power is 32. Say again?
That's what's up there.
That is, yeah, that's what's up there. So 2 to the 5th would be 32. Then if we're dividing, so we have 7 cubed divided by 7 squared. You could write that as a fraction with the division bar. We have 7 cubed in the numerator, 7 squared in the denominator, and we can cancel. 7 divided by 7 is 1, that goes to 1, this goes to 1, so that equals 7. Area is the amount of surface. It's like cover, or how much we would need to cover a certain spot. So for instance, on our floor, to carpet the floor, we had to find the area so that we knew how many little or big squares of carpet that we needed to cover the floor. So to find the area of a rectangle, so this little symbol here just means rectangle, we do length times width. Sometimes you see it written A equals LW, and we use cursive just because an L sometimes looks like a 1. So we're going to use the little cursive L. So if we had a rectangle that was a 2 inches by 3 inches, that just means that the width is divided into, and the height is divided into, and the width is divided into 3. So when we're finding the areas, we're basically just trying to figure out how many squares would cover this. So the area is 3 inches times 2 inches, which is 6 inches squared. So we can use an exponent on the label because this is inches times inches. And whenever we have repeated multiplication, we can use an exponent. So on area, we'll always have the label will be squared. So that's the end of our lesson 20.